back here with Ulf again, in Stockholm this time, and we're here to talk about Terminator Salvation.
Yeah.
And what's your relation to the Terminator series?
I grew up, watching the movies and actually read some cartoon magazine or comics about it. And it's always been, I think, everybody's dream in a sense. If you do anything in it's in the future, then it's Terminator basically. But what really interested me about it was the story that was written for the fourth one, which I can't talk about. But I really like what they were trying to do. They were trying to do something sort of within the brand, but still sort of reinvent it. So also the sort of the first part of that resistance part of the old movies, which also something that when you see that you always go like, oh, I want to play that, or I want to experience that. Why don't make more of that?
The current trend with the movie license game is of course not to base it on the movie, on the actual movie, and well, you're adhering to that.
Yeah, I think it's all about trying to do as good as a game as possible. I mean, like I said before, you want to play the resistance part, right? And that's part of the movie too, but we wanted to base the game more around that. And we didn't want to give away anything about the movie either. So if we made a prequel, Wanted was released after the movie. So, this is not to spoil anything, more to sort of lay the ground for, the movie itself, so. It's very hard to work with a movie studio, doing the movie at the same time. They're really busy guys, as we're really busy guys. So we got to share, a lot of knowledge and, concepts and so forth. And actually, I think we both sort of affected each other's work in a way. Everybody has to focus on their stuff to make it as good as possible, because it's two very different, sorts of crafting. I think movies are in general less complex. As a production, because it's really, they shoot a clip and that's what they have in the end. And of course, I'm not underestimating the difficulty, of course, but it's an interesting business really, because it sort of stays the same over, it has for 100 years almost, But like I said before, it's really about being creative, so it's very similar in that sense.
What's the setting when you start the game? That you can talk about, right?
Yes, I can talk about that. We start the game in the middle of like a war zone, where you sort of just jumpstart the whole thing playing Connor. So we go straight into battle basically. We try to avoid anything that might, feel like a drill sergeant tutorial thing.
Because there is no drill sergeant.
In the future it's less organized, you could say. But yeah, and the story sort of progresses from that point. So
I understand it's a cooperative experience.
Yeah, it's a cooperative experience. We'll announce more about that later on, but there is a cooperative element, yes.
Talking from a gameplay perspective, what kind of things are you bringing? So if you compared it to Bionic Commando or Wanted, like what kind of features?
I'd say it's a tighter, the gameplay is tighter around your team. It's not as much it's not a squad-based game in that sense, but you have to try to understand the situation and sort of react with that, because it's closer to guerrilla warfighting against, against Skynet basically, because you're really, outgunned. So you have to be, use your brain somewhat to win. Yeah, and then we've added a lot to. I mean, the game is based around what starts to be a standard cover mechanic gameplay, but then we've extended that in a slightly different way than what we did with Wanted. So it's really both of the games are taking two very different directions. But you'll see when you get there.
Thank you very much. We're looking forward to playing Terminator Salvation in May.
Cool. Thank you.